Okay, this is going to be another unfiltered video on the life of someone who actually runs an agency. My name's Adam, I'm 19 years old and I run my own creative agency. Now, what I'm going to talk about today is basically the premise of what you want to do when you're running any agency. It can be creative agency, marketing agency, SMMA, it can be literally anything. I think what people try to kind of do when they start doing an agency model is basically they try to spend money on ads because they see all of the large companies spending money on Facebook, YouTube, which as itself is okay, but you need an ad spend for that, and it's going to take time and it's going to take money and it's going to take effort. Whereas if you were just simply to build real connections with your clients, it would be much easier. So for example, if you have a marketing agency or like a creative agency like I do like 3D rendering and product animations, what you want to do is you want to find kind of like a niche of people, like everyone says. Can be anything. For us it's like physical products, so like supplements, healthcare products, and so on and so forth. You can leverage anything. If you're really good with cars, you can try to do like car rendering or whatever. It doesn't matter. Find something you're decently passionate about and something that people can actually use, like a decently sized niche, and then try to message as many people being like, hey, I've seen this and this on your website, looks pretty good. I believe I can help you fix X, Y, and Z problem. That can be anything from marketing, getting leads, just having good graphics. And then eventually when you do close the client, if you do close them, do the best possible job you can, and then ask them, hey, I have this great surface that I'm trying to improve. I've noticed that you liked our job, our gig, or whatever. If you feel like what we do is helpful, is there anyone you know, friend, family, colleague, whoever, that could kind of use this service? Does that sound like something that could be useful to someone? And if they think, you can be like, listen, I understand we did a decent job. If you would like, I can give you a better price on our next gig. Granted, you go and share it with friends, or you tell 1 to 2 people. Now, what's going to start happening is you're going to gain more and more experience and more reviews and more everything. And you do a few gigs like this, you get a few referrals, you do a few jobs done, and sooner or later you basically have like a small network of people who know you, they know you do a good job, and they're going to continuously buy stuff off you. Now, this is going to happen pretty quick. It can happen in like 1 to 2 to 3 months. And what you're going to want to do then is you're going to want to scale this, because you don't want to do like these small local businesses which only have $200, $300, $400 to spend. What you're going to want to do later is you're going to want to expand. Now, how do you expand? What you can do is you can message a bunch of slightly bigger companies, so not local businesses, but like decently sized, maybe companies in your area, or even like international companies that have like a local store, local shop in your country. And then you can be like, hey, listen, we specialize in this and this and this. We've helped these companies reach this goal. Is this something that you could use? Yes or no? And gradually you're going to kind of like climb the ladder of the client leaderboard, where you start with like small projects of $200, $300. Then you move on to like 500, maybe 1,000. Then you get your first 2, 3, 4K client, and so on and so forth. And if you manage to build a good reputation for yourself, which can be by just doing a good job and being a good communicative person, then eventually you're going to started to be recommended. And then you can start start posting your journey on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, whatever. And sooner or later, what you can do is just grow and grow and grow and grow and grow and grow and grow until you reach a level where you're making like several thousand dollars per month. And then you can kind of expand into the ads to get more noticed by big companies and so on and so forth. Now, obviously, you're not going to have this instantly. This isn't something that happens overnight. But if you're genuinely passionate about something and you like to do something, it can be anything: coding, making apps, making marketing materials, graphics. Sooner or later, you will get people to pay you for it. And sooner or later, you will get bigger and bigger clients. And once you do get the bigger clients, the goal is always to expand, improve your profit margins, and so on and so forth. Obviously, if you have a certain budget, or like the project has a certain budget given by the client, what you should also consider is that you can't really do everything yourself, because then you're not doing a business, you're just having a highly paid job. So you will want to outsource a lot of the things, a lot of the tedious stuff. What you can do is you can find people on Discord or Fiverr and find people from lower like rates. So if someone does the same job as you but they charge $5 or $10 per hour, and you're like, listen, I have this project, I need this and this made, and they're decent and they look like they're communicative and everything, you can just give them the gig, and all of a sudden you're going to have, you know, free time to do everything else. So all of a sudden you don't have to do all the projects yourself, you can just outsource the tedious stuff and do the main stuff and kind of be the leader of the whole business. So then you go from kind of like employee to, I guess, entrepreneur / like manager position, which is awesome. And then you can just build connections, go to events and so forth and so forth. Actually, speaking of events, when I say go to events, I'm not speaking about like generic networking events. I'm speaking like, keep in mind when you see people like moving around, like when you're anywhere in public, you see people like move around, you think these are like regular people, but a lot of the times these people like are highly ranked in a company. So for example, you go on a walk and you walk past 50 people. Well, at least one of them is going to be a manager or like a director, or at least decently up the kind of like corporate ladder of any company. And all of these people, because there's a lot of these people, like some things, they have some hobbies, they have some things they enjoy doing. Now, if they enjoy doing something, they're probably going to be engaged in local communities, clubs and so on and so forth. And you can go to these clubs and start networking. And when I say networking, don't be like a moving advertisement. Don't just go up to people and advertise your service, because more often than not, people are just gonna shoo you away. They don't really want to talk to you. But if you go to like a local community and you're a good person and people like to hang out with you, and sooner or later they ask you what you do and you kind of explain it to them, and since you know them, you can already explain in terms that is relevant for their niche. So let's say you do a marketing agency or like a design agency like I do. So I would go to a club and I speak to a lot of people, and I figure out one of those people happens to be a marketing manager in a local fitness supplement company. Now, since we've been speaking for a while, and maybe he asked me, oh, what do you do for work? So I'm like, oh, I actually help supplement brands improve their conversion rate via interactive ads, whatever. It doesn't matter. Just say whatever service you provide. And then when you say this, I'm like, oh, actually, really, I work for this and this company, XYZ, and we're facing these issues. And then you can be like, oh, awesome. What I can do for you is I can kind of show you what we do, maybe see if it makes sense to you. And if it does, I can show you some options and we can make it work. And if they like you, they're probably going to use your service, at least to some degree. And then what you're going to do is you're going to like do the service, you're going to get a good review, maybe he tells his friends and so on and so forth, and you genuinely build connections. This ties into the first point I made, where people think of starting a company and they just think about how they can spend money and how they can do like Facebook ads and stuff. Whereas if you were to actually network and go to events and make friends and make contacts and just do fun stuff, you would probably meet a lot of people who enjoy doing the same things as you. They just happen to need the service you're providing. And then it's much easier for you to pitch them, because if they know you and trust you, that's already like the first barrier that's in sales that you've already overcome. So it doesn't matter what you do, even if you do something new like maybe AI optimization. If you go to enough events and make some friends and kind of like, you know, be a funny guy, joke around, just be a cool guy to be around, plus you have a decent service and you happen to mention what you do, all of a sudden there's going to be a plethora of windows and doors opening where you can just go in, do a gig, do a job, and get paid. And at the end of the day, business is nothing else than like monetary exchange. So if you're good at what you do, you can ask for more money. And how do you get good at what you do? Well, you get experience. And how do you get experience? You get clients. How do you get clients? Well, you network. So if you network and you do a few gigs, then you improve, and then eventually you do bigger and bigger gigs. All of a sudden you go from freelancer to marketing agency manager or director or CEO or founder. Yeah, and that's basically it. I just wanted to mumble about what it's like to kind of run an agency at 19. If you like these types of videos, like these unedited, like real life situations, what I can do is I can kind of start a series where I speak about my personal experiences and how you can overcome certain client objections and so forth, and so on and so forth, and we can kind of make like a mini series out of it. So that's it. See you guys.